You just ruined the wrong man's lawn. At 2:17 a.m. On a Tuesday in late July, I woke to the high-pitched scream of tires and the dull thud of bass rattling the windows of my ranch-style house in Willow Creek Estates. I didn't leap out of bed. I didn't curse. I simply rose, walked to the bedroom window, and watched a midnight blue Tesla Model S carve perfect figure eights across the Kentucky bluegrass I had nurtured for 8 solid years. The driver had his window down, phone in one hand, filming his own vandalism. The smell of scorched turf drifted up through the screen. I stood there in my cotton pajamas, hands steady, and began to plan. My name is Henry Caldwell. I'm 52, a senior systems architect for a defense contractor, and the only Asian American homeowner on Maple Ridge Court. I came to this country from Seoul when I was 11. This lawn, every blade, every sprinkler head, every diagonal mowing stripe, was proof that hard work still mattered. 8 minutes later, the Tesla straightened, rocketed down the street, and vanished. The silence that followed felt expensive and fake. By sunrise, I had documented everything. 4K infrared footage, depth measurements of the ruts, irrigation lines peeled open like veins. Estimated repair cost, $1,000 and 3 months of careful receipting. At 7:30, my neighbor Eleanor Hayes paused her morning walk, stared at the carnage, and whispered, "That Kingsley boy again." Everyone knew which boy. His mother, Victoria Kingsley, sat on the HOA board and wrote the rules she never followed. I printed stills, slipped them into a folder, and walked 3 doors down. Victoria answered in designer yoga gear, iced coffee in hand. I laid out the evidence: license plate, timestamp, her son's grinning face. She glanced once and said, "It's just grass, Henry. Grass grows back." When I quoted the repair estimate, she smiled the way people do when they believe money insulates them from consequence. Her son Blake appeared on the stairs, tank top and bedhead, and laughed. "Chill, man. Maybe head back where you came from if you can't take a joke." Victoria didn't correct him. I left with the folder still in my hand and a decision crystallizing in my chest. The police filed a report, misdemeanor criminal mischief, but explained that property crimes rarely moved fast. The HOA complaint I emailed vanished into Victoria's inbox. She scheduled a review 6 weeks out. Thursday night, the Tesla returned with 2 friends. They looped the cul-de-sac. Then Blake aimed straight for the untouched half of my lawn and spun fresh trenches. Total damage now topped $1,500. I called 911 while the taillights disappeared. Same officer, same apologetic shrug. Pattern noted, DA backlog, be patient. Patience, I decided, could be weaponized. I retained a real estate attorney named Margaret Doyle. She confirmed that speed bumps on private driveways required only proper signage and county code compliance. I called my old college roommate, structural engineer Tom Brennan, and sketched a hybrid device. A regulation 6-inch rubber speed hump housing retractable 2-inch steel spikes triggered by pressure sensors calibrated for aggressive acceleration above 25 miles per hour. Normal entry, 10 miles per hour or less, registered nothing. Reckless drifting registered consequence. Tom raised an eyebrow, then spent 3 hours refining hydraulics and fail-safes. Cost, $3,500. Timeline, 10 days. While he fabricated, I ordered 3 reflective aluminum signs: private property, no trespassing, speed bump ahead, slow down, caution, speed control device. I set them in quick-set concrete at 50-foot intervals, photographed each from multiple angles, and emailed the HOA notice of traffic calming installation per county ordinance. Victoria replied that the bump offended neighborhood aesthetics. I archived her email and waited. Installation took 6 hours under cover of darkness. The finished hump looked factory standard: black rubber, yellow stripes, bolted flush. Beneath it, sensors slept. I ran diagnostics at 4 a.m. using Tom's pressure simulator. 5 tests, 5 perfect deployments. The spikes retracted cleanly, leaving only drainage perforations visible to the casual eye. 3 weeks passed. New sod shoots pushed through the scars. I began to wonder if I had over-engineered a solution to a problem already bored with itself. Then, at 1:15 a.m., on a Friday, 3 sets of headlights parked at the end of the block. Music thumped. Voices counted down. The Tesla launched, hit 50 in the residential 25, and aimed for my driveway like a missile. Camera 1, private property sign blazing in the headlights. Camera 2, speed bump ahead ignored. Camera 3, caution sign flashed past at 42 miles per hour. The front tires struck the hump. Sensors registered 800 psi. Hydraulics fired. 2 sharp pops, front tires shredded. Momentum flipped the car 90 degrees. It slid to rest sideways across my asphalt, one headlight staring into my garage like a blinded eye. I dialed 911 before Blake even opened the door. Vehicle trespassing, driver impaired, ignored 3 warnings, disabled on my legal speed control device. Units arrived in 4 minutes. Breathalyzer, 0.09. Third offense, felony damage threshold crossed, DUI, criminal trespass, reckless endangerment. Cuffs clicked. Blake's friends fled. The tow truck hauled the Tesla at 2:47 a.m. Sunday, the neighborhood chat erupted. Victoria posted photos of shredded tires and called my hump an illegal booby trap. 30 neighbors liked her outrage. Then Eleanor uploaded her porch cam footage, 50 miles per hour, 3 ignored signs, Blake filming himself. Another resident posted dash cam of prior joyrides. The tide turned. Tuesday's emergency HOA meeting packed the community center. Victoria demanded removal and sanctions. I connected my laptop to the projector and played every incident in sequence, ending with Blake's arrest. When his recorded voice said, "Maybe head back where you came from," 40 adults went still. The president asked Victoria about conflict of interest. She stammered. 35 hands voted her off the board. She left without her laptop. 2 months later, the civil suit settled for $12,000. Lawn restoration, legal fees, upgraded irrigation, new LED driveway lighting. Blake pleaded guilty, earned 100 hours picking up highway trash, 18 months probation, and a 3-year restraining order. The Kingsley house sold in 6 weeks. Victoria's Mercedes was last seen towing a U-Haul east on I-40. My lawn is flawless again, diagonal stripes sharp enough to cut glass. The speed hump remains, spikes permanently decommissioned, now just honest rubber, but every driver slows to read the signs. New neighbors wave. Kids ride bikes without fear. Eleanor brings peach cobbler on Sundays. Tom stops by to admire his handiwork and drink my coffee. I mow every Saturday at dawn, the way I have for 8 years. The smell of fresh-cut grass is the smell of order restored, of boundaries respected, of a country that finally noticed when one quiet man refused to be dismissed. What do you think? Did I go too far or not far enough? When the system shrugs at vandalism and veiled racism, is precise, legal consequence justice or vengeance? Drop your take in the comments. I read every one.